welcome back. I've got a special guest all the way from the Pacific Flyway, Miss Sehra Evans. How's it going tonight, Sehra?
Good. Thank you for having me on again. Thank you for the first time, and this time I super appreciate it. Very honored that you chose me for our flyway.
Yeah, I've been seeing you've been killing some ducks. I want to hear how your season's been going and what's new with you.
Well, I've been trying to kill some ducks. It's been it's been a whirlwind for me since the last time we spoke, because that was, preseason. And I was actually thinking about it on my drive home from the grasslands yesterday. And I'm shy of like a few states, but I've actually done a lot of traveling. That was one thing I had said I wanted to do, and I've actually done quite a bit of traveling for this
That's
season.
great.
Yeah, I've hunted like 3, almost 4 states. Have an invite to another one, but it's kind of rough to get down there. But I realized if I hunt all 5, I will have hunted everything in the Pacific Flyway, which is pretty cool from having only hunted really one area to like the whole flyway. But it's been rough, Early season is hard in our area. So,
Yeah.
Slowvember. We call it Slowvember.
Sure.
Doesn't everyone call it that?
Some years. So kind of walk us through what that looked like. Where'd you start out hunting? And
Yeah. So, in California, we have a few different opener time frames. So if you're up north, it's much earlier. It's early October, the first weekend. Ours historically was the 3rd, but it got pushed to the last. So, and then Nevada is 2 weeks later. We're balance of states, so we're towards the end. But basically, we decided to go up to Nevada for their opener, which was the 2nd weekend of October. And it was still pretty hot. And we hunted like BLM type situation, not a refuge, although near a refuge. So we were like, okay, we're going on a camping trip, and if we shoot ducks, cool. We shot like 3 ducks. So it was rough, but it was a cool
so is that your
experience.
first time there?
Yeah.
Hunting Nevada? And what
Yeah.
prompted you to do that?
Well, my boyfriend wanted to, and he had been there before and totally freaking got into him good.
Okay.
So, it's going to be great. And then it wasn't. Hey. And then that right there is my newest development to my season. Sorry if she barks more.
That's all right.
And then also his parents have a house in that area, so it was easy. And our friends wanted to go, and they have a camper. So we're just like, yeah, let's make a road trip, take all the dogs. We camped right next to the pond. We put on our stuff and just walked out. It was rad. I got to break in my new waders. So it was a cool experience, but obviously we were early for it because it was opener, and it was hot and it wasn't quite flooded up enough, but it was, I try to always look at the positive. We knew ducks are a bonus. So, I fired my gun. Hey.
And what were the 3 ducks that you shot?
He shot a teal the first day, and then the second day, myself and his friend, we shot a spoonie and a mallard.
Okay.
So all hens, I believe. But yeah, up until this weekend, that was the only teal we'd seen. So, it was a mixed bag.
Right.
3 ducks, 2 days. It's all good.
Yeah.
And not too far, 5-6 hours. Not bad. And then the next weekend, I went to Idaho. That didn't suck. I'm not going to say where I went. I'm not going to say much about it, but it was great. I enjoyed that. I flew because driving's that's too far.
Yeah.
And I was really grateful to be invited on that trip.
So can you tell us, was it a river, a marsh? Does that give too much away? A lake?
Lake.
Okay.
Yeah. Public. land, but it's interesting. Every state is so different. And I've learned that on your podcasts and like all the
Mm-hmm.
podcasts, everyone's so different, but it's been really cool to experience that, see different, refuge, public land hunting systems in
Right.
different areas. But yeah, that was cool. I was invited by, one of my, my duck dads kind of, and,
Mm-hmm.
I really look up to this guy, and he has a friend that used to be here and lives there now. And so he goes there a lot. And I said, I want to go, I want to go. And then I got the invite. And so I was just so grateful and appreciative to go and experience it and see something
Yeah.
different. It was really cool.
So what was the setup like?
Similar to anywhere, we walked in and, threw out some decoys. I don't think they have a rule on motion. So I believe, did we use a blade? I can't even remember. It's been so many places, so many things. But what I would say the biggest difference is people are just way more respectful.
Huh.
Just really communicative and respectful of each other, of each other's space. It was like, a race maybe or some competition, but really just not crowding and just like, oh, you're going here, we were going to go there. Nobody was, shooting swing or calling your ducks, or it was just, it was how it should be, and where I hunt is, to be frank, a complete shit show. So it was nice to experience something different, a little more sportsman like.
So how many days were you there?
3. Whirlwind. They opened, that next weekend. So I went Nevada, then the next weekend in Idaho, and then we had our opener the next. So flew in Friday, hunted Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning, flew home Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Get her done. You get 3
Yeah.
days at a time, and I'm not going to miss any. So
And what all
it
did
was
you
cool.
shoot there?
Mallards.
All mallards?
No, I shot a teal. They, I guess, don't get a lot of teal.
Hmm.
We saw some other stuff. There was some mixed bag, but when you're hunting with the big boys, they target mallards. So I wasn't mad at that.
Yeah, I got to experience that in Nebraska myself.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good experience. Hopefully he doesn't kill me for saying that I even went there. But I don't know where I was. Never say
Yeah,
it.
you didn't give anything away.
Nope, never. Don't go to Idaho. It's terrible. Then I came home, and we shot our opener, but, like I said, shit show. So it was hard to get on. We have hundreds of people in the lottery and the reservations that show up because our system is very systematic. It's,
Right.
lines and lists and numbers and blah, blah, blah. And so, I actually didn't hunt, opener morning. I just went the afternoon because, like, Frank wanted to go out and we could only get on so many people. And I'm like, that's cool. I'll go take a nap and go out in the afternoon. I didn't shoot a lot. It was a slow opener for me and for a lot of people, I think. But, it was okay, but it wasn't a banger.
Sure.
So it's kind of been the theme.
Yeah. So are you a stat keeper? You keep track of how many ducks you shoot or where you shoot them or weather?
I want to be. I say that I will be. I have this log thing, this book. Have I written in it? I mean, it's cool. Like, it asks for all kinds of stuff. Do I write a damn thing? No, I don't. I'm going to someday, but I honestly write down, like, if I remember where I hunted and what ducks I killed in
Yeah.
my book that I keep for my salon, my hair schedule. I write in a paper book and I just write stuff in there.
Okay.
But I really want to be. That's something I aspire to do. I really look up to the people that have that information, the guys that I, look up to, they can tell you what happened every single day for the last 20 years, and not just them, but everyone else too. You were here, you were there, we did this, blah, 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 the weather, that
Right.
but they also are damn good hunters and they know what's up. So there's something to it, you know?
For sure.
Mhm.
So in the Pacific Flyway, you have access to several different styles of hunting. You hunt some rivers and you hunt some marshes, and trying to think what else you told me in the last podcast, but kind of give us an overview of what you might run into in your typical season of hunting the Pacific Flyway.
Well, I think it depends on where you hunt. For me, I mean, I did also go to Washington, and there we hunted little, like little potholes, you know,
Okay.
on private land. And then down to Tule Lake, which is like the California-Oregon border. We were literally right on state line. So that also happened early season, and that also has a variety of habitat. So it just depends. Like there's up north, there's the Delta and different rivers. There's sea duck hunting, which a friend of mine just went on a sea duck hunt, which is, you know, in the ocean, and then wetlands, marsh, and there's big water, and there's, you know, smaller. There's a river in the grasslands area. I have not hunted it. I don't have a boat. And right now the water was still low, so you would have to have a mud motor. And my boyfriend has a boat, but he doesn't ever run it, and he just has a regular, what's it called, like an outboard or something.
Yeah.
I'm not a boat
Yep.
person. So we haven't done that, but that is a really popular thing. And then there's also some places where there's a river unit, but you can go in on foot, and
Right.
as long as it's not too high and gonna wash you away, you know?
Right. Okay.
So for me, I hunt marsh, generally speaking.
Okay. I know this year has been a little bit different since you've traveled a lot, but compared to other years, are you having kind of like an average season, above average, or below average?
Well, you know, like I said, it's Slowvember. Well, it's finally picking up, you know, but it's basically the average, I would say, is that the first week or two are good. Sometimes better than others, depends on if you get on. But, you know, you can usually scratch out a few or a limit. A lot of people do. It also depends on how picky you are on what you're shooting. But we have a huge variety of birds in this area, in this flyway. Probably more species than maybe anywhere else.
Yeah.
And if you're picky and you only want big ducks, then it's going to be harder. If you're down to shoot ringnecks, then, which I would rather not, then you might have an easier time of it. But basically, first 2 weeks are good, and then we go into Slowvember, and it's rough. And then we all are ready for it to pick up when December hits, but it doesn't actually work really that way. It's more a mid-December thing. And those guys that Scott and Kevin, and I mean, they're like, they know, they're like, got it down to science. And they're like, between the 10th and the 15th is when the teal show up. And once the teal show up, then you can start really kind of putting away some numbers.
Okay.
Otherwise, and it can be a real dark to dark thing. So it's like this weekend I had probably the best 2 shoots.
That's great.
Just not that my numbers were high, but the most opportunity, more ups, seeing more birds, you know.
Okay. So are there any tactics you're going to be changing up going into the later part of the season? There are going to be some new areas you're going to scout out, or new approaches, or is it kind of the same throughout the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own deal, right? Their own program. That's something I've been trying to just develop over the years as a fairly new hunter, this being my 5th season. I'm still working on my program. So, um, what I do and how I do it, I don't have to a science, but what I do know of what I want for my style is to be flexible and have the option for versatility. So depending on what the weather is, what the day is, where I want to hunt, what I want to hunt, I can mix it up. And I definitely pay attention to, you know, how the birds are sitting on the water, how they're coming in. Like at this point in the season, a lot of them are paired up. Although I also saw, I was listening to your podcast last night on my drive home. Thank you for keeping me awake. And I also saw this weekend a mallard and a pintail flying together.
Mm.
And we're like, huh, it's, usually you might see a group and then 1 or 2 fall in with it.
Right.
But it was straight up like a gay mallard pintail couple. It was, I'll take them both. But they didn't come in. But yeah, we saw that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was saying I felt bad for that pintail because that hen mallard got him killed. I was happy for my buddy Sean, though. That was his first one ever.
That's so cool. Yeah, I said out loud, like, oh my God, really? First one? That's really exciting. Was it a nice big pin too?
No, it wasn't a big sprig, but it was a pretty bird. He had really pretty coloration. Yeah. So
nice.
He's going to get it mounted. It's pretty.
Nice. Yeah. First, all my mounts are like cool firsts, I feel like. So
yeah.
Another thing that's been, as far as like migration report in this area, a big thing that's been a challenge for us is the weather. Obviously, that's important for everyone, but it's, weather change is a thing, and it's still hot. Like, not this weekend, but for the most part, we're like 60s and 40s. 60s in the day, 40s at night. And early season, I mean, we were like eating mosquitoes. It was disgusting. I was covered in bug spray. And it was just, it was hot, like hot. Tank tops, hunting in tank tops kind of thing. And it's like, that just is not conducive for good hunting. And we've had very few weather systems come through, not a lot of weather days. And we had a storm this weekend, so that was great. That's why, 5,000 people showed up.
Yeah.
But there still isn't really enough birds to like make that good for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that was going to be the last 3 things I want to get your.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No, it's perfect. It's a perfect segue. 1 to 10, 10 being the best. I think I know the answer because you've already kind of gone into it. Weather conditions for the whole season, what would you say from 1 to 10?
What do you mean 1 to
good,
10?
Good or bad?
What's our 10, weather right now?
10 being the best, 1 being terrible for the season.
Like what is a 1 weather like? It's like
just overall for the season. What you think like the duck weather would be? An
80s during the day and like 50s, high 50s at night. So they've got no reason to move. They're not cold. They don't need to eat. They're all local birds. So they're educated. Most of them have survived last year. So it's like, they're smart, and there just hasn't been a lot of migration. There hasn't been a lot of weather to push anything down. So what we do have to work with are some smart mofos.
Right.
A good ideal would be obviously 30s. And then it's okay if it's a bluebird day and like 60s, maybe 50s during the day. But paired with some wind or with, a change in pressure or something to get them moving. Yeah. But we just aren't sustaining the cold at night.
Sure.
Like the first night was freezing, or and then it rained, so it was warm. So it was like, but yeah, we want to be in anyone wants to be in the 30s, right?
Sure.
Not
Yeah.
below.
Yeah. So overall, for the entire season, would you say it's been like a 5 out of 10 or worse?
4.5.
Okay.
It's hard to say. I mean, I'd really like judge the season at the end, because really, for where we're at in the season, I don't expect a lot at this point.
Gotcha.
I expect to have been scouting more land rather than ducks, since there's no ducks. Doing the groundwork and the footwork to see what looks ducky, how do we want to hunt it in the future? What's the setup going to be? Find new places. And now is the time to kind of like find a couple spots you like and try to hunker down in those and really see what it's like. Because I can't really scout an area, even if it looks great, if there's no ducks to watch.
Right. Okay.
But,
well, I think that answers the next question too, for migration and duck numbers for the overall season from 1 to 10. What would you give that?
I mean, I'd say it's right down the middle. We, right on cue, the teal are showing up. We've seen, we've had a few little pushes, but so like I said, we went to Washington in mid-November and then Thule, and it was cold, and it was about to snow in Washington. It had pushed down. So and then by the time we got to Thule that weekend, I went for a DU event, and my RD had been there a couple days before, and he shot like 3 bands, that lucky mofo, and a couple other people, a bunch of people, and there had been a big push that midweek. So we were just behind it. So mid-November, they pushed down from Canada. They went through Washington. We got there. Our first day was probably their last day. We had a great morning. And then the next 2 days was slow. We went to Thule. They had just had 3 good days, bangers. We got there kind of at the tail end of it, but it had really dropped. So we were breaking ice, and, they hadn't been before. It was cold, but we broke ice on our first day.
Right.
And we didn't get anything. Also, we had, the hugest piece of land, and a guy sets up right next to us. But that's hunting. So anyhow, we were right behind him. So I know that we had a push because I missed it. And then it kind of warmed back up again. So it's like, it's hard to say. And then it's kind of dropped this weekend. We had a weather event and we got some pushes. So hopefully it stays cold and keeps moving them down. Always getting the teal and the ringnecks is like a good sign. I hunted up north last weekend, and like in the Sac Valley area.
Yeah.
And there and here, both places, we had major fog, like gnarly all day. Didn't clear in time. And had it cleared at 9:30, obviously it would have been great. We could hear them. It opened for a second. You could see them everywhere. And then it closed back in thicker pea soup. And then it cleared about 11:30, which is lunchtime, nap time for ducks. So we got like not even really an hour of shoot time, of traffic.
Yeah.
And then it shut off. And then we went and drove the closed zone. And it was like, oh my God, so many birds. But it was interesting, the mix of them. It was like gadwall, sprig, widgeon, like crazy. Some mallards, not a ton. They're all hidden anyways.
Yeah.
Not one single teal. We did not see one single teal on the whole closed zone. Not to say they didn't exist. I'm sure there were some, but we didn't see any. And then ton of snows, barely any speck. And speck is also a sign like, okay, they're pushing. So we, myself, my dog got her first goose, her first two geese
All
this
right.
week. Yeah. Everything's a first for her. And then my other friend, he's like, oh, got my first speck. So the speck are finally showing up. The teal are finally showing up. So like, here's hoping it gets better. But everyone should stay north of the grasslands anyways, because they're not there.
Well, the last one is hunter satisfaction. My friend Elliot over at the North American Waterfowler podcast talks about that a lot. And it's something I think about a lot too. I like to hear people's response to that. What would you say from 1 to 10 has been your hunting satisfaction for this season?
Huh. Well, it's been a different season for me. It's hard to say. I'd say it's higher because I got a dog, and I forgot to mention it when we talked before, but I got, a black lab, and she was away at training, and
Did you have her before we recorded?
I had her, but I didn't have her. She was in training.
Yeah, I can't remember. I guess you didn't mention that. I don't know.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Wait, there she is.
Yep.
So, sorry, I totally dropped you. I hope that didn't.
That's all right.
No
problem.
So my hunter satisfaction is higher because I get to see her work, and bond with her and train her. And it's so hard, I mean, having a kid is like so hard because I love her, but I get frustrated and she's frustrated and we're learning and we're trying to figure it out. So,
right.
So it brings greater joy. It brings more purpose and meaning. There's been ups and downs. There's been challenges. But getting to see her work and build that relationship, which I always hear is the best thing ever. Everyone talks about it. So now I get to experience that. And that's really cool. On the duck wise, I don't know, like pretty low, 5 maybe. I didn't even shoot a couple days for her beginning because I need to manage her.
Yeah.
In this weekend, in the last week, it went up because ducks started showing up and I got to shoot my gun again finally. I felt a little rusty. Couldn't hit a teal to save my life. Those things are so fast and I'm totally out of practice with that. But was like a 5 with peaks of 8.
Okay.
But hoping to roll into a higher average on that.
Yeah.
Having her get a little more hunts under her belt and having more opportunity to actually, shoot something for her to get her first 2 hunts. She got 1 duck. Like, that's not good for training.
Yeah. People always ask me why I don't have a duck dog. And it's in Pennsylvania. It'd be a lot of times in between retrieves some seasons and it'd be really tough. So,
but that's
part of it.
You travel.
Well, I'm traveling more now than I used to. Yeah.
Well, you got to come to California. I know you talked to Frank a little bit about it, but
oh yeah,
you got to come out.
Definitely.
We'll take you. Go be a refuge rat with us. Oh, it's rough, but it's cool, and it makes us stronger and more prepared. And
I'm always down for new experiences.
It's an experience.
Yeah, for sure.
What was I say? Oh, my friend Scott, who I look up to a lot, he was on Elliot's podcast.
Okay.
He's a shooting instructor.
Yeah.
And he's really something. So
good stuff.
You should interview him too.
All right. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Well, I think that's all I have for you. What's going on with Ducks Unlimited? Anything new?
Well, we had an incredible dinner. Thank you for your support, donations, and shout outs.
Yeah, anytime.
We had like 325 people, $110,000 for the ducks.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So huge. We grew from our first year, so that was an incredible second year. I'm so proud of us. Planning to just keep that momentum going. We our next date is set already for August 1st at the fairgrounds, and hopefully all the new stupid California laws don't ruin all the fun. But that's what's going on with DU and selling calendars if anyone wants one. It's a gun calendar, 79 chances to win. You don't have to be in California to get it. Yeah. Frank's chairman of Delta, so he's got a dinner coming up, a Delta dinner, January 17th in Gustine, and I will be helping with that. I'm actually going to help guide a women's hunt for CWA. So I just, staying involved with all of the nonprofits that support the ducks because they don't care where the money comes from.
True.
The ducks need us no matter where you give your money. They're all great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the time you put into
support.
that. Yeah. I'll keep sharing whatever you send, and I got to get your Venmo off air, and I want to get one of those calendars for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're cool. And I mean, it's a cool hunting calendar, if nothing else, and the money goes 100% to the ducks. So it's a great thing. And I know you go back and forth supporting Delta and DU. So we appreciate that. They appreciate that. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Glad you brought that up. So everybody listening, buy lots of merchandise and you'll be helping to support Ducks Unlimited and Delta Waterfowl.
Yeah. I bought that. I'm not political at all, but I got your mallard pintail shirt.
That's the perfect color you picked too, because I've got the light gray and the red kind of is hard to see from a distance.
Oh yeah.
So the white was the right way to go.
Yeah, I know. I looked at all the choices. I love that you have all the choices, but I just thought, that a true political pop, it's got the white with and I mean, I don't care, but
right.
All my, I have a lot of, different people in my life on both sides of the camp, and everyone tried to talk about it. And I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit, So I just wore that shirt. I was like,
let's talk about this. It. Yeah.
I'm not political. How about you support the ducks, So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to mention? Mention where they can find the Monterey chapter.
Oh yeah. Monterey Ducks Unlimited on Instagram and on Facebook, although we're not as active on there. My page, I spell my name weird, Sehra. I try and repost everything. And yeah, anyone who wants to support near or far, we appreciate it.
All right. I appreciate your time, Sarah. It's always fun catching up with you. And
thanks, Brian. You too.
I'll have to check back with you at the end of the season. I want to hear how everything goes with your dog.
Yes, hopefully we'll just be banging out limits and she'll get all the stuff and be beast mode like I know she's got it in her.
When does your season go out again?
January 31st.
Oh, but you got some time yet.
But it's really like the 28th, 29th, because our hunt days are Wednesdays and weekends. So the 31st is a Friday. So the 29th is our last refuge hunt day.
Yeah.
If I can find public or private land or, club invite or whatever on the 31st, I'd cancel my clients and go. But, and then,
no haircuts that day.
Yeah. And then Lake Goose, of course, is always a last hurrah. So.
Sure. All right. I appreciate it. I'll be in touch.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye.